So I'll be talking about conservation of biodiversity and also ecotourism, and what are the gaps in this and what opportunities we have and what are the challenges. I'll be talking about that. Okay. So before that, you all must be knowing the ecosystem. What is the worth of the ecosystem? Recently I published a book focusing on the ecosystem services. Now we know that what is the worth of forest and wetlands in our state, the district wise. Okay, so maybe in my talk a few slides talk about it. Okay, so now those who want to know more about my work is this is a portal where you get the details. So all our work is available here, publication, and some of the decisions about system what we develop is also available at this website. Okay, so now I talk about conservation and biodiversity. You all know, I think the morning speakers must have talked about the biodiversity. As you all know, we have only one earth, and as per the science, we have estimated about 1.3 million species on the earth. But look at our scriptures. Rigveda talks about 8 to 12 million species, which includes microorganisms. That is the kind of knowledge we have inherited, and that also emphasizes that we need to go back to our roots and look at our scriptures and other literatures before we start our journey in the science. Okay? And why do we need biodiversity? When you have a diversity of plants and animals, you have diverse food. When you take diverse food, your body gets the immunity, and because of that you have health. So that means biodiversity is for people and for the health of the people. Okay? So now, which part of the earth has the highest diversity of plants and animals? Let us look at it. Let us move latitudinally, and as you move latitudinally, you will see at 8 to 14 degree latitude, you have the highest number of plants and animal species. Some of these are endemic to that region. So if you take some of the taxa, the IISC 60%, amphibian is IISC 80% is endemic to the region. This 8 to 14 degree latitude corresponds to Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and the Goa part of the Western Ghats. That means we have inherited this kind of diversity. In fact, some of us had an opportunity to work in this the terrain over the last 3 decades. I am one such beneficiary, and Dr. Chandrasekhar is here from KFRI. He also has done a lot of work at KFRI in Kerala part of the Western Ghats. Okay, so and why the diversity? Let us understand. See, for example, in one taluk in Uttara Kannada district, we have 54 varieties of rice. When you look at that rice variety, one is for fragrance, other one is yield and is pest resistant, etc. If I hybridize this, I get a better product, which is an indigenous product. But instead of doing that, we look at the genetically modified crop, genetically engineered BT cotton, BT brinjal, etc. As if we don't have the thing in the thing. See, our focus should have been on the strains that are available in India and hybridize it than getting from something from outside. We do not know what are the implications of that. Even before we do the field trial, we push that product in the restaurant, as we did in the case of BT cotton. You know that controversy of the BT cotton and how the Vice Chancellor of the Harvard University has to face the music because of his wrong decisions. Okay? Now, I use the science for the conservation. I use the remote sensing data. The remote sensing data is the data acquired through the satellites. You all use camera. When you take a photograph of yourself, and if you compare that photograph 5 years back or 10 years back, you will be able to make out what changes have happened in your system. Okay, morphological changes. Similarly, if I take the photograph of the earth, I can make out how much forest is there in the region, how much agriculture is there, built up is there, and when I have a different time period, I can see what changes have happened. This is very, when you look at the photographs in a digital format, it is all just a number depending on the reflected energy. I will not get into the physics of that. So those who are interested can go to this one or can reach me later, okay. So now this is the kind of the data, various bands of data we used to do this kind of analysis. Now earlier when I was a student, to do the analysis of one district, we used to take about 7 to 8 months. But today, because of the machine learning algorithm, with artificial intelligence, the entire Western Ghat was analyzed by my student in 6 months. Look at the thing, advantage of the advancement in technology. That's what you should capitalize as a youngsters, okay? So now the algorithms are the common ones, what we use, the supervised and unsupervised, and out of the supervised we collect the data from the field and train the algorithm to do the classification of the entire region, okay? Then we also, because we have a temporal data of the past years, with that knowledge you can predict what is the likely scenario, likely change in this one. That is where we use the agent based modeling approaches like the Markov, cellular automata, Markov and AHP, etc. Okay. Now with this background, I will show you how we have done the analysis of the Western Ghat during the period 1985 to 2018. When you look at this, see, green is forest, yellow is open space or agricultural land. You will see that from 1985 to 2018, green is declining. Not only green is declining, green is also getting fragmented. That is the serious thing for the biodiversity. When there are fragmented forests, you will see the invasive species getting in the fragment and in the open area, and then there are human-animal conflicts happens in the system. So that with this knowledge of this temporal data, we also predicted what is the likely scenario in 2031 and 2051. Okay, and we also said that what is the implication on the climate. This article we wrote in 2018, and in one of the paragraph I had written that if we continue to degrade the forest like this, we are going to face the problem of flooding with the landslides and mudslides. 2018 I published this article, and 2019 there were floods with landslides and mudslides at Kodagu and Virajpet in Kodagu and Wayanad in Kerala, etc. And of course people started referring my article at that time, thinking that the thing. We also thought that okay, the decision makers have understood the implication of that, but they completely forgot, they ignored it, our warning, and the same thing repeated the current year, in the recent time, in the Wayanad, which wiped out the 2 villages. The 3 communities was completely washed away because of the landslides and mudslides. Okay, so now how the climate change is a problem, let us try to understand. Okay, now see, these are some of the with a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase in temperature, we lose about 70% of the coral. Okay, before that I'll show you what is the kind of the thing we predicted. We said that Kerala will become warmer by 1.5 degrees Celsius. So that means Kerala becoming warmer will have the implication of the diseases like vector-borne diseases will be prevalent in the region. You will have the disease for the organisms, biological organisms, including the humans. Then rainfall pattern will change. Now the Kerala, which has been receiving a good rainfall, good amount of rainfall of 4,000 to 5,000 millimeters, will start getting a lower rainfall. And another worrying thing is the changes in rainy days. If you look at Karnataka, we get 4 months rainfall, Kerala gets 6 to 8 months. Instead of rain spread across these 4 to 8 months, you will get the same amount of rainfall in a short duration, which we call it as a high intensity rainfall. With the high intensity rainfall and the removal of vegetation cover, the soil, earlier the vegetation used to hold the soil, it used to act as a binder. There were no mudslides, landslides. Now people have removed the vegetation. With high intensity rainfall, landslides and mudslides happens. Okay, this is how we face the major crisis. A lot of people were killed because of the landslide, mudslide. Now silently, what are the other impact? If you look at the coral bleaching or the endemic species of
insects, 6 we will lose with 1.5 degree, and plants, the endemic plant 8 we will lose, 8 species we will lose, and vertebrate 4 species we will lose with 1.5 degree. And by the increasing another 0.5 degree, you see it shoots up to 18 insects and 16 plants and 8 vertebrates. This is the worrying thing. These are endemic species. The insects does the wonderful job of pollination. Because of the pollination, they are pollinated. Because of the pollination, you have the food productivity, the crop yield, etc. Now we will lose that. Okay. Then other implication is the drought. 350 million people will be affected with a 1.5 degree, and it will become about 410 million species. And look at the coastal area. It become vulnerable with a 46 centimeter increase in the sea level will become about the 56 centimeter, and number of people who are going to be affected in coastal area is a 46 million get affected in coastal area will become 49 million with another 0.5 degree Celsius increase in temperature. Okay. So now to summarize what I said so far, if we do not conserve the biodiversity of the Western Ghats, we are going to pay the biodiversity on the earth, we are going to pay the heavy price. We'll have flooding, landslides, mudslide, drought, and last year we faced the green drought in Karnataka, and of course glacier melting, etc. Okay. So now that will threaten the food security and water availability, and cities will become vulnerable, and coastlines will become more vulnerable, and more importantly, the people will become prone to the diseases. Like just now we faced the COVID about 5 years back, and we are going to face that again and again. Okay, now we are talking about tourism. We package the tourism under the banner ecotourism to tell the people that we are a wonderful job of taking the people to the ecologically important area so that they get the recreation and all those things. Absolutely, I have no problem with that. But sensible tourism should have been there. People who go there, when I look at there's one kind of the waste littering and the kind of the other impact. The last week I saw in the television, one young fellow was trying to tease the elephant. I didn't understand why he went all the way to do that mischief in the wild area. Ecotourism should have been a responsible tourism, and we are supposed to, whatever the conservation is happening there, we should allow that to happen. At the same time, we should take the benefit of the aesthetic and recreation services provided by that ecosystem. Okay, I have traveled extensively in the Western Ghats, in Chikmagalur, Shivamogga and Kodagu, all the places. I have seen that we have still not got a population who are responsible to take advantage of the ecotourism. Okay, and that is a concept is good. It provides the livelihood opportunity for the local communities, and more importantly, the people can also provide the indigenous material to the public who requires such things. Okay, and when I look at the Karnataka ecotourism policy, this is for villas, creating villas in the ecologically sensitive area. I don't know whether we have visionary leaders in Karnataka who can think about how to do the planning of the ecotourism in an ecologically fragile region. When I am staying in an air-conditioned environment in Bangalore, why should I, when I go to Markera, why should I expect the same kind of the facility in that region? I have gone there to have the nature surveys and to avail the nature facility. But why should I expect the same thing to happen in the resort? These are unfortunate things. Now, I have done the analysis to see how people are mismanaging the fragile ecosystem in the name of ecotourism. See, now for example, these are sacred groves in the Kodagu. Kodagu has the distinction of having highest number of sacred groves, or a Devarakadu, or a Khan or cow. I will bring this one why Devarakadu has to be protected in few minutes. In one of the sacred grove, this is a sacred grove, there is a board, but other side of the sacred grove, inside the sacred grove, I see one politician has constructed that into villas in the name of ecotourism. and he was the finance minister of the government of India about 10 years back. So this is how they have taken advantage of this one, okay? And now we also looked at where all the landslide happens and how people are affected in the name of ecotourism. You know, the valley region, people have occupied, encroached, and have constructed the resorts. And the owner of the resort is in Bangalore, Mumbai or Hyderabad, whereas the workers are in resort. When the landslide happened, those workers were washed away, they were killed. Look at the irony of our system. Okay, sitting in Bangalore, we get excited with the word ecotourism, but when you go there, you will understand how people have mismanaged the ecotourism or ecologically friendly tourism under the banner of ecotourism. You know, we just did the mapping of all the region where the landslide has happened. Every stream blockage has led to the land thing. What happened was, over a period of time, there was a change in rainfall. You know, people just went and occupied those vacant areas of the drain and they constructed the resort, etc. You know, that entire building was washed away in the whole system. Okay, then these are the critical areas which we have done the field work, and this is the devastation that has happened in the region. We looked at the causal factors. I will not get into the details, which is available online. You can have a look at it. And this is the kind of the thing. You know, there is a conversion of the entire ecological region. You know, they converted into a kind of the monoculture plantation. And you see, when the whole thing washed away, this entire region got washed away in this system, you know, because of the instability in the system, okay? So, and also the way they have done the cutting of the hillock, there's no proper protection thing. Do we lack the civil engineering capability in our country? So, do not think that I have come here to criticize. I worked for 30 years and I have contributed to a system. Today I know what is the problem, okay? So now I also looked at what is the kind of the land cover changes that is happening in the region. I see there is a forest is degrading in the Kodagu district. You know, Kodagu is supposed to be ecologically fragile region. Not only the forest is also getting fragmented. We also map the biodiversity in the region. In fact, my group has a distinction of mapping the entire biodiversity of the Western Ghats. Okay, so then we also did the modeling of the thing. And finally, we told the government, you know, what are the kinds of things. We said that forest, we have lost 40% over a period of time. And, you know, the coffee, rubber and horticulture have taken over. And there are, you know, too many resorts and villas in the unsustainable tourism. But they are all under the banner of ecotourism. And they have been all cleared by the government under the banner of ecotourism. You know, this is where the devastation is happening. So, and some of the tourists also got washed away in that landslide and mudslides. You know, some fellow does the mischief, someone else pay the heavy price, okay? So now, these are the sacred groves in that region. You know, historically, we have from the tradition of worshipping Mother Nature. You know, we have been doing it and we know that forest patch has the power and we used to believe in that and protect the forest and worship the forest. Gradually, when the human brain started, you know, earlier humans had a complete knowledge of the ecosystem. When they had half knowledge, they started bringing God in the form of stones and they started placing and constructed a temple and all those things. Now those same kind of the human beings have started for them also the buildings etc. in the region. So now let us try to understand what is the worth of the forest in the system. You know, when you all give the importance to a person depending on how much he earns or you know, that is what I have noticed in many family circles. First question people ask is how much he earns, he or she earns. Based on that, even an idiot, if he earns 1 billion rupees a year, he will be given the red carpet, whereas a researcher who earns few lakhs, then he won't get that kind of a treatment in the system. Now, we understood if we understand the worth of the system, we get the idea how to conserve that. How do you assess the ecosystem services? You know, the forest provides you the tangible benefit like timber, fuelwood, non-timber forest produce, etc. You find out the quantity and find out what is the kind of the revenue you get out of that. Similarly, forest does the regulating services like carbon sequestration, soil erosion arresting and all those things. Then we have a cultural services. We did that study for one district in Karnataka way back in 2017. I had published that an article which was available online. The United Nations, which saw my article, they approached me saying that for 2 years they had deliberated, they had worked on the protocol of how to do the valuation. They approached me, they asked me whether I can do it for 10 districts in Karnataka or in India. I signed the MOU in 2019, and for our bad luck or good luck, COVID happened. The good luck is because of the COVID, neither I was traveling nor my students were traveling. We were all arrested in our lab and at home. Because of that, we had lot of time. And since I was in the government committees, I was traveling in the Western Ghats with few of my students. So we took advantage of that. And in a year, about a period of 18 months, not just 10 districts, we did for entire Karnataka. Okay, the ecosystem services. Not only that, when I went to the United Nations and they invited me to give a talk, when I talked about my country and the kind of resource I have, they were so surprised. They said, oh, India, a country, a backward country with a bunch of jokers who come only for recreation, nothing else. That is what our Indians, some of the Indians have portrayed themselves in the system outside. They think that they are born to have recreation in the foreign soil. That is the kind of the thing. So I said that we have changed. The youth of my country have the ability to take up any responsibility, and we have demonstrated through this assignment. Not only that, after that, we published that as a book. Springer came forward and they asked me whether I can share this manuscript with them, which I agreed, and it is published. Now for entire Karnataka, we have the what is the kind of the resources we have, what is the worth of that, and the value of that, we know that. See, normally when we talk about the country's development, we use one metric called GDP, gross domestic product, but that is utterly the wrong metrics. It does not take into account degradation cost of the environment. For example, you are building the particular project in a ecologically sensitive region, let us say hydroelectric project. There is only talk about how much benefit it happened because of the hydroelectric project without accounting for the degradation. If we account for degradation, then that metrics is called green GDP. In fact, we are working towards that. I am in the discussion with the government of India to see that eventually the GDP changes to the green GDP. For that to happen, this kind of publications are required, and now we have done it. Okay. In fact, the work we also published as a strategy paper of this the KSTA. The second strategy paper is on the forest ecosystem services, and another one we wrote was on the aquatic ecosystem. From that we know that what is the worth of the forest and the wetlands in Karnataka. In fact, those who are interested can approach Dr. Srinivas. He will make available the copies of our publication. Okay. So now, see, I just looked at the Kotturu district alone. I am giving an example. What is the kind of the provisioning services we get every year? 82 crores in 2005 comes down to 33 crores. The same, the 2019 market price. Similarly, the regulatory service, which was 87, comes down to 63 billion rupees. And cultural service, which was 32 billion rupees, remains 32. Okay, and total ecosystem supply value is 202 billion rupees, has come down to 129 billion rupees. And this is the outcome of our all the districts analysis. If you keep 1000 rupees in a bank at a 10% interest every year, you get 100 rupees interest. Now to get 100 rupees, you have to keep the principal amount of 1000 rupees. Okay. Now similarly, every year if you are getting 129 billion rupees, what is the worth of the forest, you will come to know. It amounts to about the 8,000 billion rupees is the worth of the forest in the Kodagu district. Like that, every district we have worked on. Okay. Now I will give an idea of about one service, carbon sequestration. During your school days, you would have learned photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, in the presence of sunlight, the vegetation sequester the carbon, convert that carbon dioxide into the oxygen. That is what you use it for the survival. And carbon is stored in the plant as in the bark and in the trunk, etc. Now you quantify how much carbon is stored in the plant over a period of time. How do you do it? You cut the tree, measure the weight. Okay, you get the biomass. 50% of biomass is a carbon, but that is a destructive sampling. There is another way of doing it. You measure the girth of a tree and height of a tree. So with that, there are allometric equations. Earlier, when the trees were removed for hydroelectric project, some researchers, what they did is they did this kind of they found out a relationship between the girth and height and the biomass. Now you don't have to do the destructive sampling. You can do with the allometric equation, you can quantify. See, when we did the quantification for the Western Ghat region, the entire Western Ghat, we divided into 5 minutes by 5 minutes grid, and each grid we know what is the kind of the vegetation cover, and from that we computed what is the carbon that is stored, which is about 1.23 million gigagram. And every year, it goes on adding the carbon to the system. How much it adds is about 37,000 gigagram. When you look at this 37,000 gigagram, this is equivalent to the emission that happens in Trivandrum, Cochin, Mangalore, Bangalore, like that. That means nature is doing some balance of maintaining the greenhouse gas footprint in the system. Now look at the monetary value of that. At 80 rupees social cost of the carbon, it amounts to about 100 billion rupees or $1.4 billion. You might ask me, what is the use of this number? See, when I represent a country in the international meeting, I tell the outside fellows, Europeans and Americans, that the carbon that is stored in my forest, in my country, are the carbon that is emitted by them. That is the service our forests are given to them, because we have only one earth. Now they have to pay that much money to our country. When that money is given to our country, we can do the conservation. That's how they think. See, one is criticism, but if you can have a logical way of bringing out this kind of fact, that would be a very interesting thing. Okay? Then next is the hydrological service, where the vegetation gives the water. To understand this, this gives the water. This is when I was young, and today the same month during monsoon I don't have water. Okay. Now to understand this, I will take you to the river basin. My hypothesis is how the vegetation covers the region. Its hydrological services depends on that. Now to understand this, you come to Sharavati River Basin. We constructed a dam way back in 1965. Now whether it has altered the hydrological parameter, let us try to understand. Today you have the rainfall data for the last 125 years. From 1901 onwards, every day rainfall data is available, which is in public domain. You can download that data and analyze. What analysis you have to do? Divide that into the rainfall into the two time period, 1901 to 1964, 1965 to today. So now when you do that, you will be surprised to see 1901 to 1964 rainfall in this region was 3000 to 4500 millimeter. But after 1965, you look at one portion continues to get 3000 to 4500 millimeter, while the other portion receives 1700 to 1900 millimeter. 50% reduction in the rainfall has happened. The rainfall pattern is the same, orographic precipitation. It's only when you overlay the vegetation cover, you will see this portion, vegetation continues to be the same, whereas in this portion, the vegetation, there is a degradation. People have come to that region, they have converted forest into agricultural land, which has become a degraded land. Now there is a relationship between wherever forests are there, rainfall continues to be 3000 to 4500. While forest is degraded, it has become 1700 to 1900 millimeter. This is in a place called Nandi, Hole, and all those things in the eastern part of the Western Ghat. Now, how much rain you get is not the crucial thing. How long that water will be in your well or in the lake, that matters to you. Now, to understand that, what we did is, we put the sensors in the underlying layer. We chose various catchment. One catchment with a native species forest, another catchment with a monoculture plantation of rubber, acacia, eucalyptus, another catchment with the urban area, the fourth one is the degraded. Like that 32 catchment we chose, and we monitored it for 36 months. Why 36 months? We wanted a seasonal variation and we wanted year to year variability. when we did the study, I was surprised. You know, wherever forests are there of native species, because of the diversity, roots are diverse. Because the roots are diverse, you know, the soil microbes are diverse and abundant. When soil microbes are diverse and abundant, you know, the soil becomes porous and permeable. Or when soil becomes porous or permeable, it allows the water to percolate. It fills in this zone called saturated zone. Then it fills the water zone. After filling all those things, then only you will see a water flowing in the stream or river or a lake. So that means it has deposited enough water. Now, if you convert that into rubber plantation, because of the degradation pattern is and slower degradation with a lower microorganism, you will see that water percolation which is sufficient for 6 to 8 months we get it. Whereas when we degrade the catchment with a forest of less than 30%, all the water rushes towards the ocean, there is no percolation happen. That's where you see the people face the water crisis immediately after rain is because of that. That is what happened in the Idukki district and Wayanad and all those places. People faced the flood and next month they had the drought situation. Okay. Now, to summarize what I said so far, this is the region we have 12 months water. Here green are the 8 months, this is 6 months and this is 4 months. Just overlay the vegetation cover. Wherever native species forests are there, we have 12 months water. Wherever forests are fragmented, depending on the intrusion of the rubber plantation or acacia or eucalyptus, we have 8 to 6 months of water. Wherever forests are degraded, with the forest are less than 30%, we have only 4 months of water. Now you look at how it affects the livelihood of the people. The farmers in this region, because the water is available throughout the year, they can grow multiple crops as a cash crop. Whereas farmers in this region, since the water is available only for 4 to 6 months, they can grow only one crop. Since the farmer can grow multiple crops, they earn 1,54,000 rupees per acre per year, whereas in this region, farmers earn 32,000 rupees per acre per year. See, look at how it affects the livelihood of the people. One fellow comes in the name of development, convert the forest into the rubber plantation. He is benefited. But surrounding villages, people lose their livelihood. 1,54,000 comes to 32,000. Now look at the yield of the crop. The farmers in this region, if they get the paddy, the yield of 14 to 18 quintal per acre, farmers in this region get about 6 to 8 quintal per acre. When I look at it, what is the reason? In this region where native species forests are there, you have the higher number of pollinators, endemic pollinators. Because of that, pollination is efficient. Because of the efficient pollination, you have higher yield of the crop. Whereas in this region, the poor pollination, so because of there is not much pollinator in the region. Now you see how the livelihood is dependent on the nature. See, Government of India wants to double the income of the farmer. You have the answer here. Just maintain the integrity of the ecosystem. We get enough water and pollinator, we get what we want. Government need not pay 10,000 rupees a month, in a year to us as a beggars get it. So we should not treat our farmers as the beggars. We also looked at the budgeting of the water availability in the region for drinking, irrigation, etc. You see wherever forests are there, the demand for water is higher, but there is sufficient amount of water because green is higher than the demand. Whereas in this region, in the name of development, people have removed the forest. You see there is a demand, but there is no sufficient water in the region. Now you understood, if the development has to happen in the country, it is not at the cost of the losing the forest. But always people say, country has to develop, we should remove the forest. That's why Madhav Gadgil committee report, Kasarangan committee report, all kinds of the things. People don't even read the report, but they become expert because they are vocal. Okay. So now, let me give another this one, how it also helps the thing. Look at the diversity of mammoths. All the dot indicates sloth, bear, tiger, etc. They all are there where water is there 12 months. Where water is not there 12 months, I saw only two-legged animal. Who is that two-legged animal? Fighting for water. Okay. Now, I also found we discovered 2 species of fish. Sistura nagodiensis and Sharavatiensis. The significance of the species, it has a medicinal properties. I thought that okay, it has a medicinal property. If I culture it in Bangalore, my lab, I can become a billionaire. But when we culture it in our lab, like Bangaloreans, who spend most of the time on mobile without using their brain, There was no medicinal property in the fish. Exactly like Bangaloreans. So that means if you want a fish with the medicinal property, you have to culture it in its habitat. For the fish to have the grow in that habitat, it should have a water for 12 months. For having the water for 12 months, the catchment of that stream should be of the native species forest. This brings the linkage between the biodiversity of terrestrial ecosystem with the aquatic diversity. Okay. Now I'll give another example of if the water is not there on the earth, what will happen? If there is no water on the earth, no one will survive, no humans will survive. But let us take other biological organism. We call frogs as amphibians. I will not ask why is a thing, because Srinivas said I have to complete my talk in half an hour. When I got the invitation, I was told 1 hour I will get the thing. So I took 1 hour to come to the thing with the traffic jam and all those things. After coming here, he felt that already I am exhausted. He said, sir, you speak for half an hour. Okay. So if you had phoned me saying that your talk is for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I would have told Srinivas, okay, I will sit and write one more article and I will send it to you so that you can circulate among the audience. But he didn't do that. Now I landed here. I am facing the crisis of the time. Okay, now let me get back to the topic, because I also express the displeasure. I never keep up anything with me. That's why I am very happy man. So if I want to criticize somebody, I will put it on their face and then walk out of the place. It is for them to judge. Okay, now let us take an example of the frog. Frogs, we call them amphibian because it has a 2 stages in the life cycle. First stage is a juvenile stage, which is the tadpole stage, like a fish. It requires water. Next stage is adult stage, which is on the land. Now, because of the life cycle, it requires 2 habitats, 2 different kind of habitat. We call them as amphibians. Now, if there is no water, what will happen to the frog? It cannot reproduce. Tadpole cannot survive. But in a drier belt, in a drier stream in Western Ghats, we come across the frog which was reproducing. We were surprised. Then we looked, they investigated the reproduction thing. We noticed after the fertilization, don't keep it there only. If I want, I'll ask you. Otherwise, we'll forget and go. So, that is after fertilization of the egg, we saw the younger ones are coming out without a tadpole stage. That means that organism has learned how to get adapted to a situation of the water crisis without depending on the water. But I will write it and give. If there is no water on the earth, however intelligent we are, or whatever artificial intelligence and machine learning, none of us will survive. That's where we need to manage the system properly. That's why so-called ecotourism banner, we should tell them that what is ecotourism properly in a scientific tradition. Okay? So now, how to convey to the government? We identified the regions in Western Ghats ecologically sensitive. How did we do? We divided entire Western Ghats into 5 minutes by 5 minutes grid or 9 kilometer by 9 kilometer. In each grid, what is the forest cover, what kind of species are there, we calculated and we assigned the weight to that. And all these parameters we combined together, we got the consolidated score. Like you all get the consolidated in your transcript, you get that CG this one. No, like that we calculated based on the various levels of the eco-sensitiveness. We divided that into 4 levels as ESR 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are the variables that are used: forest cover, endemic flora, fauna, etc. How we did it is, for example, if the forest cover, you say wherever forests are good, from our remote sensing data you can analyze, and then you assign the weight to that. See, if the forest cover is greater than 60, assign the weight of 10. Like that you will do it. Then you will find out where all intact forests are there. Accordingly, you assign the weight. Then we also calculated what is the carbon in the thing. Then we also found out what kind of flora and fauna are there in the thing, because the entire Western Ghats, my students have travelled. And also from the literature, we got the details. We compiled the species occurrence based on the literature review. Now, when you look at this, see, Karnataka, Kerala and Karnataka part of Western Ghats have higher number of tree endemism. Okay, Chandrasekhar is there. He will tell you tomorrow about the importance of that. And if you look at the fauna endemism, you see that the Karnataka has a higher this one, then Kerala, then Tamil Nadu, etc. Okay. Now, based on that, we divided the region into 4 levels, ESR 1, 2, 3, 4, and we overlaid the village boundary. Now, we developed the decision support system. Now sitting at your home, you can find out whether your village, if you are born in West Bengal, whether that village is ecologically sensitive. So, you have kept the hotspot on? Okay. When
No, it is on.
huh?
On.
Okay. Now I will just go to that website. Okay. So, I launched this website on 15th July in a remote village in Shumoga. I wanted to check how effective this kind of research, whether it will reach the Delhi. Believe it or not, within a month there was a question in Parliament about this portal and also our Western Ghat research. Not only that, government sent an experts committee to my lab to find out what I have done. When I talked to them about this eco-sensitiveness, I just highlighted the service provided by the forest in the form of carbon service. When I said that if we identified the forest and conserve the forest, we get a carbon credit. The committee was very happy. They said that, tomorrow we are going to meet the Minister of Karnataka, in charge of the forest. They met the minister. They told the minister that just the carbon service of the forest, you will get a lot of money. The moment he was told the money is available, he said, I will accept Kasturangan committee report. He made a statement on the same next day evening where there was an international conference. He said, we are going to accept the Kasturangan committee report. Why I developed this thing myself, my student is there, this Kasturi Rangan committee report and Madhav Gadgil committee report was not accepted by any state government. And it went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court asked, the Green Bench of Supreme Court, NGT, asked the state government to give the list of the villages which are ecologically sensitive. For the last 1.5 years, none of the state government did that. Then when I came to know from the Green Bench, there is a gap in there, I told them that I will develop it. I will put it on public so that everyone will know, including the Green Bench. So now if you look at, you can see here 4 levels and the entire Western Ghat you can see. So if you want particular state, you can choose your state. Let us choose Chandrasekhar's the professional state, the Kerala. He is from Karnataka, but he works in Kerala. Okay, so it gives the what happened? Your net is weak.
No, it's. No, it
See,
will
now
come.
the state you got it. Okay. Now I will choose a district. I will choose Wayanad because the landslide has happened. Then I will choose the taluk, which was this one, landslide eco-sensitive region. Okay. Then see, now we know ESR 1, ESR 2, ESR 3. Then I select the village. Okay, which was washed away. Okay, and click on that. You will get the details of eco-sensitiveness. Not only that, all the data which we have used, we have put it online for the public to listen. See, that is how science should go to the public, so that everyone can start questioning the system when there are lapses on the part of it. That's what we have done. Okay, now you understood how the science can help in the decision making or the advocacy. Okay, so now I thought that we are doing it for the first time, but our ancestors, our elders, understanding this kind of services provided by the forest, they identified a patch of forest, they declared it as the sacred groves or Devarakadu. They knew that the younger generation will not be interested in conservation. They thought that they will believe in God. So that's why they place some God in the forest. In some places where they don't believe in God, for example in Kerala, they put some daityas in that. So that out of fear people should be. One of my students who was from Gujarat, when I was doing field work in Sacred Grove, he just made a responsible statement. He said, "Sir, I don't believe in all this thing. You fellows will say this is sacred, that is sacred, all those." I said, "You control your language and don't make irresponsible statement," I said, and I was slightly annoyed. I moved forward thinking that I should not be with him. After a few minutes, I heard a big sound. He has fallen. And not only has fallen, it is only the matter of 4 minutes. His leg was injured, he had a ligament tear. Then 3 months he was down in the thing. Then one day when I met him, he said, "Sir, I should have been careful when you cautioned me, but I made a statement. Now because of one statement I am paying the price." Okay, this, you all would be facing this kind of a thing. When people do this kind of irresponsible behavior, it gets reflected in the family front. Ravi Shastri, who is in Mumbai, comes all the way to the sacred forest in Udupi to do the puja of snake god, because his priest has told him there are some mistakes that happened in his family front. To get relief from that, he has to do it. Even Sachin Tendulkar has come. And all these people are Western Ghat people, okay? And that Aishwarya Rai, she also had this one. So that means there is a belief which has the thing. Science confirms it. For a science, when there is this one, there is a conservation, people get water, and there is a prosperity. To summarize what I said, when you cover Mother Earth with a green saree of native species, she retains the water, and we all have water for 12 months. When you convert that to green saree of native species with the synthetic saree of rubber, acacia, eucalyptus, she gives the water only for 6 to 8 months. That means you will lose the water for 4 to 6 months. When you degrade the catchment with the forest cover less than 30%, she will not retain the water. You will face the crisis. That is what throughout the country we have converted that into this kind of situation. Okay. Now let us learn sustainability, because they said the sustainable transport, somewhere here I saw Sustira Abhiruddhi. Nobody has understood Sustira Abhiruddhi. Everyone talks about sustainable development. One lady in the Western Ghats, in Kumta, told me, what is sustainability? See, when I do the field work, I interact with the local people. I don't interact too much with the city people. Because city fellows are crooked fellows with the pollution, they inhale the pollution. Don't feel bad. City people have two faces. Whereas the eco-friendly people, ecological friendly people, they have only one face. If they don't like it, they will shout at the person. So when I met this lady, I saw her, she collects Bibles every day and collects only one bucket. I asked her, why you don't collect the second bucket? She told me that, see, when I get one bucket full of Bibles, when I sell it in the market, I earn 350 rupees, which is sufficient to run my family today. For tomorrow, I will go and harvest for tomorrow. Whereas in our case, what we do, we amass the wealth not only for ourselves, for our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren who is not even born on the earth. So that is how we abuse the thing, and we will come and give a lecture of sustainability and all those things, okay? That is the case of ecotourism. All the fellows who are promoting ecotourism, so-called ecotourism, are practicing that only. Because I have worked extensively in Chikmagalur, then in Kodagu and all. Not even one place I saw the thing. When I went to the Goa, look at the kind of the ecotourism there. Every house invite the guest as long as there is a toilet at home. That is the condition of the Goa government policy. Whereas in Karnataka, you need to have a 5-star facility, you should have this much plinth area of building, all kinds of illogical things. In a forest area, having such kind of structure is a disastrous. That means the fellow who has drafted there doesn't even know what is forest and what is the ecological service provided by the forest. Okay. So now, best way, since children are here, if you want to be successful, learn from Mother Nature. There is a simple food chain. When you look at food chain, producer producing food using during photosynthesis, which is eaten by herbivore, which is again eaten by carnivore. And when that happens, everybody gets food. Look at the thermodynamic principle playing there. Energy and material transfer is happening. And at each level you would have studied, only 10% is left. That means there is a loss of energy. That is the third principle of thermodynamics, law of entropy. Okay? So that's what, and finally whatever is left in the system get converted into elemental form by bacteria and fungi. We call them as biodegraders or this one. And today my research, if you look at, I have a highest citation on the bioremediation. One of my students who work is on this one, and that has the highest citation. Okay? So that means what you do from nature, that is sustainable. What you do sitting in AC room in an artificial environment, that is not sustainable. Okay, sitting in AC room, what people will do, dumb fellows will use mobile and they will just sleep off, that kind of the thing, sir. Okay, so now let me take you to the Bangalore. I will just, will you give me more time or should I stop? Now it is 5:45 as per your this. If you say stop it, I will stop it.
Take another 10 minutes.
Okay, he's generous. Lord Srinivas is always generous. Okay. Anyway, so now we look at Bangalore. You know, people get excited thinking that when they come to Bangalore, they have come to some land which is going to give them a prosperity. But they do not know they will die in Bangalore very soon with an unhealthy environment. You know, look at Bangalore topography is an undulating terrain. Earlier river was passing. You know, what people have done is they just put a bund at regular interval. Because of that, you know, they could meet the irrigation and domestic water requirement. And during the Kempegoda period, we had 1,452 water bodies in the area of 740 square kilometer, and we had 80% green cover. Because of that, the temperature in the Bangalore city during the May month was 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. Today, what is the temperature? 36 degrees already in the February month, supposed to be the winter. Till Lord Shiva comes on Shivratri day, we are supposed to enjoy that, but already before even Shiva lands up in our home, we have made this one, okay? So that is the, and you know, for some days in Bangalore, in December, the temperature was 0 degrees Celsius. And because of that, we were growing apples in a place called Palace Orchard closer to my institute. What are we growing today? Waste and waste people. That's all we are doing. And you know, people ask me, why are you fighting for lakes? I tell them that when the lake is there, you have water at 100 feet. When you remove the lake, you know, in 5 years it comes down to 600 feet. That's what my study shows. We monitor the lake. And in 23 years, you know, today in Nakshatihalli, people have gone down to 1,800 feet, there is no water, which establishes there is a link between the lake and the water in your well. You know, but we have lost this one. We are searching for water in the moon. We have killed the water here, but we are searching for water in the moon. Okay. Now let us look at the, you might ask, suppose if I improve the condition of the lake, will it improve the situation of the groundwater? Come to Saraki Lake. Within a, you know, Saraki Lake, a successful model because of the community participation. They evicted the encroaches and they got the rejuvenation done. I was a part of the team. You know, within a year of rejuvenation of Saraki Lake by desilting, etc., the groundwater table went up by 300 feet. And last year, when the entire city faced a water crisis, in Saraki Lake there was a water and groundwater table was less than 500 feet. Because of the high moisture content, there was a good diversity in that region, and because of that, there was a temperature at least 2 to 3 degrees lower than the other part of the thing. That means if you want to address the heat wave in the city and the groundwater crisis in the city, best option is to rejuvenate the lake. This is what we need to learn. Okay. Now, if the lake is not polluted, what are the benefit people get? You know, we get fish, fodder, etc. to an extent of about 10,500 rupees per hectare per day. When we pollute the lake, the value come down to 20 rupees per hectare. Who are the people who depend on the lake? Fishermen, washerwomen, farmers, and people like me. Who are the people who pollute the thing? The elite section of the society in the city. They send their the liquid waste and they dump the solid waste and the thing. That's how the lakes are getting contaminated. Okay, now what are the threats to the lakes in Bangalore? One is irresponsible urbanization. You know, 68% green cover in the city in 70s before you all are born, youngsters. And today 86% is concretized. The red is concrete area. Whereas yellow is open space, blue is a water body. If you look at 1973, city was known as a garden city because 68% was green cover. And 92 with industries coming up, their changes happened. Then 2000 with IDPT center coming up in the outskirts, we see changes happening. Then 2006 further intensification, 2009 this one. Okay, now today we have reached the situation of oxygen deficiency in the city. There are instances of people using oxygen cylinder. You may feel that, oh, this may not be true. I have the statistics to show that how many people depend on the oxygen cylinder, and there's acute water scarcity in the city. Yesterday, the government of Karnataka said that you should regulate the use of water. We will penalize. If you wash your car, you have to pay 5,000 rupees. That means already we are paying the price, okay? So now that's where I have been telling the government, enough is enough. We need to look at the Bangalore carefully. Okay? Now, see how the concretization has happened. 8% concrete area in Bangalore, today 86%. As per the norm, 33% should have been green cover in the city. But what we have is not even 3%. How many people are questioning this? There is something called social media. All young fellows are on that, but I have not seen any comment on that. Don't feel bad. If you are on the social media, you can be, but you could do something justice to that, okay? See, now let us look at how many trees are there in Bangalore, okay? Because I am talking about carbon sequestration, ecosystem, and the heritage site, ecotourism, etc. My campus, 400 hectares. When I mapped using GPS, one of my students did, we had 22,000 trees. Like that, we did it in a couple of words, the ground data. We linked that with the remote sensing data. Now we got the relationship between the trees and the reflector. Now with the remote sensing data for entire Bangalore, we estimated how many trees are in Bangalore. Our estimate shows that we have 14,78,000 trees in Bangalore, and stable population is 95 lakhs. And when we looked at the population, it amounts to that for every 7%, one tree is there. We know that which ward has a good tree cover also from this time. There's nothing new I am talking about. Because we are talking about ecotourism. Look at the Bible. It highlights the importance of trees at least 320 times. I looked at the Quran. Quran talks of the imminent war if you pollute the water body. That's why when you visit Dargah, you have to wash your feet and finger with a clean water. That's why in good Dargah like Kadapa or Ajmer, there is a well. You have to pull the water from the well. You have to wash your feet and finger. Then only you can enter the Dargah. They thought that when you practice in Dargah, you will practice at home and in your community. Look at our literature. Matsya Purana talks about the linkage between the water body and the children and the tree. If you have water body, the well at home, you are wealthy. 10 the wells are equal to 1 lake, 10 lakes are equal to 1 reservoir, 10 reservoir is equal to 1 child, 10 children are equal to 1 tree. Now I will put it other way. People who cut the tree, when they cut every tree, they are murdering their own 10 children. That's how I write my article. You might ask, what is the effect of that? Once one forest officer landed in my office. When people come to me, I know that they have come in a polluted environment, they are restless. So I usually ask them to relax for a while. Then I saw tears in his eyes. I asked him what happened. He said, it's because of you. Then I said, okay. See, then I saw him pulling out my article from his bag. He put it on my table. He said, because of your article, I am crying. I said, see, I write article, but not against the individual, but against the system, I said. Then he said, you have written that when we remove the tree, we are murdering 10 children. Now I have to remove 179 trees because there is a road widening is happening. If I remove 179 trees, tomorrow you will write an article saying that I have murdered 1,790 children. If I don't remove it, I will lose the job. Now you give me the solution. Then I told him, nearby there is a vacant land. Why don't you take up the planting of native species, which are at least 4 or 5 years old sapling, and plant it, and think about transplantation. The moment he started doing, people appreciate. That means there are sustainable solutions. Okay, so now this gives a picture about the lakes in Bangalore. We have lost 79% of lakes. Bhuvan is the person who generated this statistic. We had 756 lakes in 70s. Today we have 216 lakes. That means 540 lakes are swallowed by people. You all eat pizza, burger, or ice cream kind of thing. We have another kind of fellows. They swallow the lakes itself. So no, that is true. Don't feel bad. It is happening. Okay. So when you go and ask if your father or mother is from the government, no, they will explain you what is that swallowing means. Then I thought that let me make another data available to the public. That is where we put this Bangalore Urban Information System, which is available online. You can access that. We also said about how water scarcity happened in Bangalore. 10 years back I had predicted. And when it happened last year, all the fellows landed in my office seeking for interviews. saying that I have done something, this one. Sir, you have predicted, you must be having extra intelligence. I said, what you are doing for the last 5 decades, I looked at and I said, if you continue to be irresponsible, you are going to pay the price. That's the thing. Okay? Then, look at the relationship between the vegetation cover and temperature. What was 21 degree in 90s became 24 degree in 2000 and 28 degrees in 2010. Today it's about 38 degrees. And if you want to understand the linkage between the water body and vegetation cover with the temperature, you go from the center of the city. Wherever water bodies are there, you see temperature is 2 degree lower. Even my campus, the vegetation cover is 54%, I have 2 degree lower temperature. If I am doing good science, which is recognized by the wide section of the society across the globe, it's because of the good environment I am enjoying in the campus over the last 4 decades. Okay, so then this is about the lake. Okay, I will not take the thing. Now, when pollution happens in the lake, if you close your eyes, you know how you will be affected. You will understand. You know, the people that grow the vegetable in the downstream of the lake using this lake water, and fish in the lake comes to the Bangalore lake, Bangalore market. I just took those sample and analyzed the sample. I found that there are heavy metal in that, the fish and vegetable sample. Whether you are a vegetarian or non-vegetarian, you are going to pay the heavy price in the form of cancer or kidney failure. Bangalore is number one as far as the cancer is concerned. Kidney failure, which was 1 in 1 lakh about 12 years back, today is 1 in 5,000. Every ward in Bangalore city has the dialysis unit. Don't you see? That is the thing. And more children are getting affected with the kidney failure. You know, that is a pathetic situation. When I work in, as a part of my environmental education program, when I work with the schools and school children, in Ramgondali I found a standard kid had losing the kidney. Then I thought maybe it is an issue with the government school where the children from the low income will come. Then I went to the private school, you know, KK English High School. In that school I saw the LKG kid itself has lost the kidney, girl child. And 8th standard, 2 girl children had lost both the kidneys. Then after 6 months when I visited a school, I told the principal, I need to talk to these kids, I have to do something to them. The principal says that one girl is no more. You know, the youth are asset of the nation. We are losing them. And he also told the security guard who is from Nepal in his school, who is about 30 plus, he also died because of kidney failure. See, we are losing them. That is where we need to wake up and accept that they cannot go on polluting the system in the name of development. Okay, so that is all the indication of the pollutant in the system. You know, I gave the blueprint for rejuvenation of Belandur Vartur Lake. Now, one of the things I said prescribed is the decontamination and arresting the contaminant entering the lake. To decontaminate the lake, you need to remove the silt. How much silt is there in Belandur and Vartur Lake? You know, it's about 11 million cubic meter. When I published that article, people said, oh, TVR is going to create the traffic problem in Bangalore with the shifting of 11 million cubic meter of the silt. You know, since I was part of the NGT team, I gave the silt of Vartur Lake. We didn't have any contaminant to the farmers in the vicinity. 400 acres I gave. After 3 months, when I visited the region, the farmers welcomed me. They gave the royal welcome to me and my student. And each farmer tells me they got a bumper crop because, and they earned 1,50,000 additional revenue because of my decision. You know, each farmer says that because of you, I earned 1,50,000. They grow thrice a year the same crop, the green leaves, the radish, etc. You know, that is the thing. They didn't use the fertilizer. They saved the money, and this soil is rich in nutrients. They got a bumper crop. You know, that is what we need to do. Silt in our lake, if we take it to our agriculture field, we have the prosperity in our country. That's what has to be done. That is the sustainable development. That is the sustainable solution. Okay. So then I thought this lake information should be available to the public. Today, Bangalore Lake Information System, what we have developed, has the information about 193 lakes in Bangalore, which give the physico-chemical property as well as the algae and the fish, and what is the economic value of that lake, and also the how much encroachment has happened. You know, this is one of the popular work what we did. 3 students who worked for 4 years as a part of their doctoral work. Today I have this. See, we have the youth of that kind. You know, channelizing the youth energy to this kind of the work is the crucial thing. But today we don't have the teachers who can motivate the children in the thing. I see the teachers using the mobile in the classroom and killing the time than giving the good education to the students. Okay. Now, I am in the last leg of my talk, okay? What are the other things you have done? You say you talk, you criticize everybody, what else you have done? You know, that's what that boy is asking me with a smile. No, I just jokingly said, don't feel bad, okay? See, now, one is, whatever I have done has become a model for the country as well as the globe. See, one other thing is the wastewater treatment, sustainable solution, creating water body mini forest, okay, and then sensitizing the youth through my talks. You know, probably in the entire country, I may be on the top with the 2000 plus lectures in various schools and colleges during my career of 25 years in the system. So that's how I have done the capacity building. When I go to the Supreme Court or in the IIT or IISC, my student is sitting there doing a similar kind of research. What else do you want in your life as a teacher? That is what you look for, okay? So now, how I solve the problem of wastewater entering the thing? Let us go to Jakkur Lake and surrounding there were 25 wells were there. 2005, some of the children were not even born at the time. I had reported nitrate in the well water as well as the lake water. Then I pushed the government, because nitrate is a carcinogen which introduces cancer. I pushed the government to rejuvenate the lake. What government did? They constituted a committee with Yellappa Reddy as a chairman. I was a member of the team. And they gave us the money to rejuvenate the lake. But unfortunately, that money was not sufficient to have a tertiary treatment. You know, there are 3 levels of treatment: primary, secondary, tertiary treatment. Primary treatment will remove the large particle like plastic, etc. Secondary treatment will remove the chemical ion. Tertiary treatment will remove the nutrient. My problem is a nitrate, which is a nutrient, but I cannot remove the nutrient because of the financial problem. Then what I did is, I put the nature-based solution. That is where the remediation, phytoremediation. I integrated constructed wetland and the algal pond with the secondary treatment plant. You know, this was implemented way back in 2010, the successful model. And after that, last 10 years, my students have monitored this lake and the surrounding wells. And today, there are 300 wells in the vicinity of the lake. None of them have nitrate. At least I have a satisfaction of giving a clean water because of my science to the 300 well users. Do you feel satisfied with this? And that is a sustainable solution. See, if you are from rural area, already this technology is there. See, you will take a bath in a bathroom, the water comes out, you will see that in a small patch of vegetation like, you know, the banana, coconut, etc. And the well is close by. You just measure the well water quality. It will not have nitrate because this banana and all those things would have already taken up the nutrient. That's where I said, you learn from nature. You will understand the principles better. Okay, now this is the lake I have created in the campus. Okay, not only it acts as our wet lab for my student who work on the biofuel, etc. I have otter in the campus. At one end I am saying Bangalore is dying. Other end I am showing a heaven where I have the otter. And whenever I meet people, I convince them to create the water body. See, even the saints who couldn't solve the problem, they come to the scientists for this. See, this saint from Mudbitrai, there was no water in Mudbitrai for 2 years, 2014-15. He came to know that I am traveling in Mangalore because the media reported my travel plan. Then he talked to me. He asked me whether I can meet him. I said, I am ready to meet you, provided I have a class in St. Aloysius till 7 o'clock. Only I can come to your place at 9 o'clock. Believe it or not, he waited for me, 9 o'clock. He listened to my presentation like you are all listening. After that, he told me, this is the problem, what to do. I said, simple. 32 lakes are there in Mudbitrai. You just rejuvenate that. You are a saint. You should be able to do it without much problem, I said. He said, no, I don't have a reserve. Then I said, at least you do 1 or 2 lakes, rejuvenation. Desilting. Remaining 30, I will get it done, I said. Believe it or not, on that year, all 32 lakes were rejuvenated with the desilting, etc. And last year, when entire state faced the water crisis, Mudbitrai didn't face water crisis, that taluk. This is again a sustainable solution. And seeing the success, I see the youth power here. You know, even the Alva students are this one, and CEO is also quite young. You know, that's where I get excited when I see the youth in my audience. You know, that's where I request them to come closer to me so that I can give these ideas then. You know, then when I saw this young man, I said, we should create another water body in the campus which stores 25 lakh liters, and also I gave the suggestion how to do the native species planting. Within a year when I visited, greenery with abundant water, you see the smile on our face. And look at the thing, some of you are in this age group. When this gentleman met me, he was a bachelor, looking for a partner to get married. Unlike Bangaloreans who get married through the Facebook, and next month all those faceless fellows will be filing the divorce paper. This man married a person, the sustainability. She runs the joint family, unlike Bangalore fellows. And when I go there, she doesn't want me to stay in the guest house. She says that you should stay in our house. In Bangalore, when I go to some houses, knock at the door, they say we are not at home. I ask them, who is speaking? If you are not at home, what is this voice, from where it is coming? See, that kind of people without culture are more in the urban area. With the culture, people are there in this. So that highlights where science, society, culture and spirituality get together, you will see the sustainability of the resources in the system. Okay, now what we have learned, I will end in another 2-3 minutes. You see how I solved God's problem. Lord Shiva at Gokarna was taking a bath of the contaminated water from the Koti Tirtha. Some local youth wrote to me saying that, sir, there is a problem of the smell, can you come and solve it? We went, myself, my student, we analyzed the water quality. We didn't even ask for the funding. We just went. We felt, okay, one weekend we will take a holiday. Instead of going in the name of ecotourism, we thought that we will do this. So then, we went. We saw that contamination is because of the ritual. People perform rituals. All those rice balls and banana and all the puja material disposed in the water, which get degraded, and then with that smell is there. Then I had a meeting with the priest. I convinced the priest. I told, I will identify 2 locations. What you should do is, I will name that as the Vaikunta and Kailasa. If you do the Visarjana of rice balls in Vaikunta, you have to pay 25 rupees. If you do Visarjana in Kailasa, you have to pay 50 rupees. In that process, I have a revenue of 20 to 25,000 per month, which we give it to NGO. Now the NGO has hired 3 youth. Their job is to do the DVD, and excess rice ball from here they take it and give it to the cattle in the Goshala. In the meanwhile, I introduce the fish which eats the rice. If there are any remnant, that also happens. The last 5 years, you see that water body which was like this, before we visited, it looks like this. Now Lord Shiva and his son Ganesha, who is in front of him standing there, both of them are getting the clean water bath every day. They are so happy. You might ask, how do I know that they are very happy? Look at my profile. Last 5 years after this initiative, what kind of career boost I have got in the kind of publications and awards and all those things. I do not say that you should go behind the award. Award should come behind you. When you do the work, it will come to you. So then, this is a climber in my campus. I was fascinated by the architecture. I got that climber, the seats to the campus. Out of 14 seats, 7 seats I have kept in my lab. Next, remaining 7 seats I planted in 7 locations in the campus. Believe it or not, out of 7, only 1 has survived. Where it has survived? Next to the building where I have been working, which Srinivas has come and met me. That means even the plants know who will take care. The other 6 places I only planted in the same kind of environment, but only the thing is every day I was not going there to talk to them. So they didn't survive. So that means that how nature keeps eye on that. In front of this building, I created a mini forest in a 2 hectares area. 49 native species, 500 saplings were planted when I was a student. Today you come and see the region, you get a feel of the rainforest. And more importantly, the region was infested with Parthenium earlier. Today you have to come and search for Parthenium. You don't get Parthenium. And other interesting thing, groundwater table at that time was 150 feet. Today I have water at 10 feet. Now you know what is the solution for Bangalore. Having mini forest in each ward will solve the water crisis, and rejuvenating the lake will solve the problem. And of course, for my recreation, I have slender lories and varieties of snake. I don't have to go to any other place to degrade that ecosystem. I have my own recreation, which is a wonderful place. Every day evening when I walk, you'll be surprised. Afternoon after my lunch, when I go to one other thing, I see a snake crossing. When I tell my students, see, the this one, I come here to see the snake every day. He said, corrected me. He said, no sir, you are wrong. Every day that fellow is coming there to here to see you, to tell you that you have given a habitat, we are all happy and thank you, Dadi. That's how the nature does it, the job. Okay? So then whatever we have learned, we convey to the children. You know, my audience goes to 2,000, 5,000. I don't see the empty chair in my audience in some of the forum. You know, the other day I was in the Sirigere. Tarlabalu institution had conducted an event where there 2,000 people were there. I was so excited to address them. So that is the kind of the thing. That is how I can communicate to the children, because they are the future of my country. I know that they will take care, provided they get the knowledge of what I have done during the last 25 years. That's what I do it through the various systems. You know, in the entire country, ours is the group which I have conducted this Know Your Ecosystem in all the schools. About 555 programs we have done with 2,000 plus lectures. And those who are working in industry, etc., we offer a course on environmental education called environmental management. For the last 22 years, we have offered a course every year. 22 sessions we have done. Next session is during September to December. Okay. And we also conduct a symposium popularly known as Link Symposium. This is an international event. International and national delegates, about 1,000 will come. Out of that, 20% are my school and college students. You know, they do a simple experiment like carbon sequestration, water quality monitoring, etc. You know, we give the orientation program to them. And children in rural area do the neighborhood mapping of biodiversity. You know, the children who took part in this kind of initiative, today they are the professors in IIT, IISC, etc. They have seen the success in their career. Those who are interested can get my talk in the YouTube. The Kannada version as well as English is available. You do the Google search YouTube, TVRAMACHANDRA, you'll get it. And this is my website. All my publications are available. You know, if you look at, apart from doing this kind of science, we are one among the top 2% of scientists in the globe, in the global ranking of scientists. So that is the way. It is not the excuse. We have done the science, we have taken the science to the society, and we also communicate the science to the society, hoping that society will take it forward. Okay? And this is how you can communicate to me. I do not use mobile. So do not try to reach me through the mobile, because I don't have the thing. And only best way is through the email. Okay? And my agenda is to sow the seeds of knowledge in this young brain, and they will become an asset to the nation. And then when they do a good job, you know, all of us will have a smile. Thank you very much.